I want you to imagine something. Your marketing is working effectively and efficiently. Your social media is generating inquiries. Your website is getting traffic and consistent engagement. Your ads are producing leads. Sounds great, right? But then reality kicks in. Your agents are extremely busy. They're showing homes to qualified buyers. They're negotiating all those contracts. They're also handling all the property inspections. And suddenly all those new leads you've worked so hard to generate become one more thing competing for attention. This is the exact challenge many growing real estate teams are facing right now. And it's why more team leaders are turning to AI. I'm Coach Emily Terrell, the #1 real estate coach and speaker at Tom Ferry. And I spend a lot of time helping agents and team leaders build systems that allow them to grow without creating more chaos. And one thing I'm seeing over and over again is this. The best teams aren't necessarily hiring faster. They're building much smarter systems for their teams. One of those systems is AI-powered lead engagement. Not because AI closes deals, but because AI helps teams stay connected to opportunities when humans are busy doing human work. The real bottleneck is usually capacity. Most team leaders assume growth problems are solved by adding people. Sometimes that is definitely true. But often the real bottleneck isn't people. It's all about the underlying process. Think about what happens when a lead comes in. Someone has to respond immediately to every lead, effectively qualifying them for your team members, efficiently gather all the necessary information. They determine their underlying motivation. They identify their specific timing, and then they route them appropriately to the right person. When that process depends entirely on a busy agent, unexpected and inevitable delays happen. Not because agents don't care, because they're already juggling multiple responsibilities. AI helps bridge that gap. Chatbots create consistent first impressions. One thing I tell team leaders all the time is this: your first response is part of your brand. The consumer doesn't know you're in a listing appointment. They don't know that you're currently negotiating repairs. They don't know you're at your child's baseball game. They only know whether they received a response. That's it. A chatbot creates consistency. Every inquiry receives, providing immediate and professional acknowledgement, providing them with very helpful information, next step guidance and scheduling calls, and even some engagement questions. And consistency always builds trust. Qualification happens before your team gets involved. Instead of every lead immediately landing on an agent's plate, the system can start gathering useful information. Questions like, are you buying, selling, or both? What time frame are you considering? Which of those neighborhoods interest you? Have you been pre-approved? Are you currently working with an agent? Now, your team isn't spending time chasing information. They're stepping into more informed conversations. That is a huge difference. The best teams protect agent time. I think this is one of the biggest lessons leaders can learn. Agent time is incredibly valuable. Your top producers should spend more time building relationships, negotiating those complex and critical deals for their clients, advising clients on their real estate needs, and focusing on converting every single opportunity, and less time manually responding to repetitive questions. The goal isn't to automate relationships. The goal is to automate repetitive tasks so relationships can receive more attention. That's where the real leverage comes from. I recently worked with a team leader who felt stuck. Lead volume was continuously growing, but every additional lead seemed to create more stress. The instinct was to hire another agent, but before making that investment, we looked at the process. What we found was eye-opening. The issue wasn't capacity, it was inconsistency. Leads weren't being engaged quickly enough. Information wasn't being gathered efficiently. Once AI was introduced into the front end of the process, everything became smoother. The team didn't suddenly work harder. The system worked much smarter. If you're leading a real estate team right now, AI chatbots aren't really about technology. They're about creating a better experience for your leads, for your agents, and for your business. Because growth becomes much easier for everyone involved when every opportunity receives attention, even when your team is busy. If you'd like to learn more about how teams are using AI to improve lead conversion, streamline communication, and scale sustainably, I break it down step by step. And for more practical insights on AI, systems, team growth, and real estate leadership, connect with me on Instagram at Coach Emily Terrell. I'm always sharing strategies there that leaders can take and implement immediately.